Hello, everybody, and welcome to what is it now? Friday? God, the days keep tumbling by, don't they? The Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. And I'm sitting in the chair alone today because I think everybody is just too damn tired to keep on talking about a football team that ain't never going to get better. So I have some information that I have assembled to make a key argument, and you can take, here's the way I look at things. I just got done. I was just kind of perusing um, some things here. And one of the things that came up, and maybe I should just share this because this is really not intended as an advertisement, but I don't know whether I even want to put this up. It's so stupid. What people are talking about right now on social media who have sports podcasts is pretty goddamn ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous to the point where, well, I'll share this just so that you understand what the situation is. Here we go. Unbelievable. Look at these two morons. And look at the headline. What they're talking about is, hey, the Browns need a head coach. Why not Coach Prime? And there's the guy who's special needs guy here. You figure on this. I mean, if that's what's passing for any enlightenment, then just forget it. Just like that. Just forget it. I'm trying to keep my composure because I started thinking about things, and as of today, all right, there were 9 teams that were looking, 5 remain without a head coach. The vacancy is still there for 5 teams. Those 5 teams are the Buffalo Bills that will have no trouble finding a head coach, I'm sure. Because although I'm not sure their previous one deserved to get fired. The Arizona Cardinals, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. Those are the remaining teams that don't have head coaches right now. Yeah, exactly, Rick. It does make you just kind of hold your big cow head, doesn't it? Oh, man. So with that knowledge in hand, we find out from our good friend David Talevsky, is that his name? Who participates on the program all the time. David's a good guy. He's saying that there's information that would tend to indicate that the Browns are getting some assistance in their search for a head coach beyond Andrew Berry. And that person, oh God, I don't even want to say this name, is Tom Telesco. And so I just decided, why they would be listening to Tom Telesco. I wanted to take a look at his bio so that maybe there's some wisdom to be had from Tom Telesco. Here's how he started. On January the 9th of 2013, Chargers president Dean Spanos chose Telesco as the team's new general manager. Before that, he was involved with the Indianapolis Colts. He joined them as a scout in 1998. He became the director of pro scouting in Indianapolis after that. And he had this great run in Indianapolis that just so happened to coincide with Peyton Manning's career. And that was the high water mark. Won a Super Bowl there. Well, he didn't. Peyton Manning did. 154 wins from 1998 to 2012. He was elevated by a star quarterback. So the San Diego Chargers, like I said, on January the 9th, 2013, they said, we found our guy. Here he is, Tom Telesco. It's a no-lose proposition. He inherited a team that hadn't made the playoffs since 2009. They were underachievers. Sound familiar? He was fired 10 years later. Actually, 11 years total with the team. And then he was named the general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders on January 23rd, 2024. And a year later, he was fired. All right. What did this guy do that would make us feel in any way, shape, or form that we should be listening to him? I can share with you what was shared with me. This is from a source named Jordan Schultz. I will name the sources from Twitter. David Tlevsky writes to me and gives me this. Among those involved in the Browns head coach search, former Chargers and Raiders GM Tom Telesco, who's been serving as a consultant and helping the Browns in its process to find a head coach. He has been in meetings with the in-person candidates, those who kept their schedule and decided to meet with the Browns after all. And when you look at his record, it really isn't for shit with the Chargers. He hired Mike McCoy, Anthony Lynn, Brandon Staley with the Chargers, and Antonio Pierce with the Raiders. All right. Antonio Pierce is off doing something with the NFL on CBS, I think, one of the networks, broadcasting wise. And Mike McCoy, Anthony Lynn, and Brandon Staley are gone. Gone. They're never going to get another job again, based on the way they handle the situation there. So, why this guy? Why do we even need help to do basic chores? I think it's a fair question. I've got so many things I want to talk about. I want to make a comparison just for the sake of people who maybe are not as old as I am. Cleveland Cavaliers back in 1980 to 1984 had an owner named Ted Stepien. People who are from Northeast Ohio remember Ted Stepien. He was the worst owner of any Cleveland franchise up to that point in history. He basically made the comment that black people were only about 5% of the American population, and therefore, why should they be so populated in the NBA? He said what the NBA needed was a greater balance with white players and black players, and he did his best in Cleveland to do just that. The man, without any question, Ted Stepien, absolute moron. I'm going to put this into perspective for you. If you ask anyone in Northeast Ohio, if you're young and you didn't follow the Cavaliers back in the years of 1980 to 1984, Just ask anyone who resides in Northeast Ohio. During his years as owner, a 66 and 180 record, which is a .268 winning percentage. His era was marked by constant trades, 6 coaching changes in 4 years, and a 15 and 67 season in 1981, 1982, and an average fan attendance of only 3,900 fans per game. He ran the fans out of the stands. He ran the good players out of the team. He hired the most inept, absolutely inept coaches. And after finishing 15 and 67, what did they do? They traded their 1982 first round pick, which would have become James Worthy, of course, went to the Lakers, and they got themselves an SUV full of hot shit. Some of the worst trades that you could possibly imagine. Ted Stepien. But he was gone in 4 years. The league stepped in and said, man, Cleveland is a franchise in this league, and they thought differently in 1984 than what they do now because it wasn't this big conglomerate like it is now. And they said, shit, we gotta save this franchise because nobody's watching their games, and this is an embarrassment to the league. So they helped the Cavaliers out. It's the only time in history where a Cleveland sports franchise actually got helped out, but they got helped out significantly. They got themselves a new general manager with the help of the NBA. That would be Wayne Embry, who had a real knowledge and background. A new owner, of course. The interesting thing was the new owner was totally blind. Literally, he was blind. He couldn't see. That would be Gordon Gund. And all the good things that came with it, some goodies from the NBA that said, we're going to give you extra draft picks because it got so bad that the league put a trade moratorium on Ted Stepien. I can't begin to even fathom. They said, we're not going to let you make any trades anymore because you're just destroying the organization. You're destroying a property of the NBA, and we can't have that. So we got a bunch of good players once we knew how to draft them. And oh my God, we got just Brad Daugherty and Ron Harper and Mark Price and Brad Daugherty. I mean, it was like a haul, man. We got a haul, and we went right into becoming, like a year later, a playoff team. And a team that actually did pretty well in the playoffs, except that they were always stopped by the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. The reason I bring all of this up is that business is different today, but the argument that I'm going to make is that the NFL needs to step in and get rid of Jimmy Haslam out of Cleveland. He has to be deposed. He's like, we're all worried about Greenland, and I don't know what the fuck. I understand that it's a military, it's an area that it's great to have for military purposes. We'll just leave it at that. But why in the hell do we need this owner? What has he done? So I'm comparing it with the Ted Stepien stuff. Here's Jimmy Haslam's record. This is just so sad. 14 years. And what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. 5 and 11, 4 and 12, 7 and 9, 3 and 13, 1 and 15, 0 and 16, 7 and 8, 6 and 10. 11 and 5. That was the guy he threw away like a piece of hot garbage I guess is the way that Baker would say it. 8 and 9, 7 and 10, 11 and 6, saved by a 40-year-old man. 3 and 14 and 5 and 12, a career one loss of 78 and 150. And if you put that in to your calculator, not that it's, I basically did it for you, a .342 winning percentage. Narrowly better than Ted fucking Stepien. This is what we're talking about. A guy who has destroyed the Cleveland Browns franchise. You can say, well, it started with Art Modell selling it. Now, I understand the whole story. And you can say, God, we weren't ready to come back in the league. And, and we didn't have any players. And Tim Couch was a bust. I know what you're going to say. But in the competitive years of the NFL, since this idiot bought the Cleveland Browns, he's been an abysmal failure. Here's something. If you don't believe me about Ted Stepien, here are players that he either traded away or key players that he didn't select. James Worthy, Sam Perkins, Derek Harper, Roy Tarpley, Detlef Schrempf, Dennis Rodman, and Charles Oakley. Way to go, you stupid fucker Stepien. The only good thing is that he died in 2008. That's the only good news about Ted Stepien. Defending himself until the day he died, the stupid idiot. And now we have the amazing Jimmy Haslam. And you already know how many great players he passed on. Just Carson Wentz. I'm not sure he's a great player. It's better than what we've got, though, in the past. And then he made the dumb Deshaun Watson move and got rid of all of his picks in the process. Real smart. He passed on Patrick Mahomes. Why, of course he did. And Sammy Watkins and Khalil Mack. Great linebacker. It's just, I can't look at it any other way. The guy is just a loser. And now he's brought in this Tom Telesco loser to help advise him. Like he did with DiPodesto. He always finds the biggest losers he can find. Because A, he's an idiot. And 2, he's a proud idiot. He sold his trucking company for $13 billion. And God only knows how much more he's made from ruining the Cleveland Browns. And the NFL won't step in because they're making so much money, they don't know what to do with it, right? They don't care about Cleveland. They never did. And to be very honest with you, they probably shouldn't. It's not like we haven't had a chance to get better. This guy, Jimmy Haslam, has stopped us. Totally stopped us from the opportunity to get better. And what has he done now? He's put the organization back in last place in getting a head coach because he fucked up the minority hiring rule. You have to believe that he was utilizing McDaniel to be his minority hire interview. Of course, we know McDaniel said no, didn't even show up, and so he didn't get the interview in. And now all of a sudden, scrambling to find a head coach, and he hasn't even satisfied the thing that any owner would have done first. You may not like the law. You may not like the rule. I think it's condescending. If you're not really serious about hiring somebody, it shouldn't be like that, right? But when you just don't have a backup plan, well, we got the one on minority guy. And, well, Jimmy, he just took a job as an offensive coordinator. Woo! I didn't know that. Woo! Well, Walt, why do you find me some other dark skinned person? Woo! This from a guy whose trucking company had private recordings made of telephone conversations from his executives referring to black people as niggers. Great, isn't it? I know it makes me feel warm all over, almost as good as urinating on myself. Lovely. Bronx going to add to the festivities. Julio Jones, geez, But we did get to see Deshaun Kaiser. That's very, very true. Boy, Rick is really on today, isn't he? Let's have a show. Oh, my God. How do you fuck up the Rooney Rule, man? How do you do it? How do you get caught with your pants down? How do you do it? And now people smell desperation. Who's going to take this job? If I were Jim Schwartz, I'd leave the organization right away. If somebody offered me any of these 5 head coaching jobs, bye-bye, get the hell out. Being stuck with Jimmy Haslam is a certainty that you will lose. You will be tarnished beyond all recognition. I'm just looking at this hiring cycle and saying to myself, what does it matter who he decides? Who he brings in to advise him? He's going to lose. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who we draft. It doesn't matter any of it. It doesn't matter. As long as he's here, the team is going to be a last place team. That's the reality of this. And I can't, as a loyal Browns fan, give up on the players because that's throwing the baby away with the bathwater. Can't do that. But I'm just speechless about just how inept this owner is. And I wish to God that somebody would come into this equation and get him out of Cleveland. This is so much like reliving Ted Stepien, I can't begin to tell you. I thought I'd only have to go through that shit once in my lifetime, but now I see it coming back again. And for all the talk of what I would do if I owned the Browns, what would I do? It's moot because I'm not doing any of it. I never will do any of it. And we have a media that basically talks about hiring Coach Prime, who can't even win at Colorado without his star son. Hi, Moose. How you doing?
Well, I don't know. What is it? Half past the hour. I was asleep 15 minutes ago. Popped on my phone, saw you, and I couldn't get it towards the StreamYard link on the version I was looking at, so I had to actually get up out of bed and go on my computer to log in to mention it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you were the first person or I was the first person. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You've been banging on about getting rid of Jimmy Haslam for a long time, and long-time listeners must remember of me telling stories of how if you had an owner this bad running an English Premier League team, the fans would have fucking lynched them by now. They would have protested outside the stadium. They would have thrown shit at the team bus. They would have stopped going, stopped buying the merch. They would have done all nonsense. And if Big Lurker Luke UK is in the chat, he can collaborate with this. This just would not be put up with. But in America, shit like this, authoritarian figures are put up with more easily, for some reason, and I don't know why. I don't know, but Haslam is a cancer, and he will not go away even after he dies because his son-in-law is there, his daughter is there,
It's like the
wife
Mara
is there.
family in New York with the
It's like
Giants.
sometime I'm going to take a stupid 3, 4, 5 hours of my life and go through each of the 31 NFL franchises that have billionaire owners and write down which ones are legacy owners where the grandfather Lamar Hunt owned it and it passed it down to his daughter, and see all of this legacy third generation, fourth generation dickheaded owners of all of these teams, and it's just allowed to happen. We had a protest here in England today, in Felixstowe Port, and it was a bunch of this is not sports related, in any way, shape, or form. A bunch of farmers got together, drove all their tractors, and we're talking like 100 huge tractors, and they blocked the main port coming into England in Felixstowe and Essex so that the haulage firms could not get the containers out and drive away. And there's ambient food, there's all this shit going on. The reason why they did it is that they were upset with the government lowering the minimum amount of value of land for inheritance tax. It was like you could inherit like 2.5 million land if you were a farmer, and they lowered it to 1 million, and they decided to throw up a big stink about it. And I can swear to God, most people listening to this program do not have $1 billion worth of land ownership. Like that would seem like a lot of money to virtually everybody listening to this program. But that's what they do here. They get involved, they get action. You can agree with it or disagree with it. I happen to disagree with them doing that. But America doesn't do this. And we pay for it. We pay for it by stuff getting whittled away from you. And you get and the civic pride that the Cleveland Browns could have engendered into the community had they been a normal 500 percentage franchise with the odd AFC championship trophy once every 8 years or something like most teams get to have or get to be. Even the Bengals have been in the Super Bowl, 2, 3 times? It's just sickening. And every time I see Haslam, I don't even want to hear his voice. I think it's just diabolical what it's done to the city of Cleveland. And this is the first time either. You mentioned Ted Stepien. Yes, he was awful, but the NHL allowed the Cleveland Barons to die too, and they died really quickly. The ice hockey team.
Right.
There's a long story about how awful they were. They went from an AHL team to Nick Valenti getting a WHA team, the Crusaders, and then finally they gave them a horrible expansion franchise in the NHL, and they got absolutely smothered in the NHL. My late brother and I went to a game at the Coliseum where they got beat like 11-1 by the Montreal Canadiens. So that's people do not give a shit about Cleveland. It's time for Cleveland to give a shit about Cleveland. And that's the only. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It's just frustrating.
Well, there
Yeah.
are always answers, I suppose, but the the answers are are cosmetic things that will not change the success of the organization. Uh, and this, when you look at teams that have, uh, it was like the Chargers, because this is part of Tom Telesco's
Yeah.
bio.
Who is this guy? I don't even know who he is. You said this guy's got hired, and about 5 minutes ago. I don't know who.
No,
he is.
he's not gotten hired. He is assisting the Browns in their
Oh, he's a consultant.
recruitment. He's a
Okay.
consultant.
He's a
all right?
consultant trying to help them figure out. So they get some idiot who's probably never done this job before.
Oh, he's
Pay
done
them
the
a lot.
job before.
Has he?
He was in the right place at the right time with the Indianapolis Colts, and he got the job in 2013 when a young Peyton Manning was just starting out as quarterback.
Oh my God.
And he was there for the 12 years of Peyton Manning. And when Peyton Manning was done playing football, they
Colts were
fired him. They fired him because he was worthless. And then he went to two other places and failed. He went to San Diego and he failed. You know, it's like as soon as they got rid of him, they got Harbaugh and started really winning, excuse me, in San Diego. And then
Right.
it's just a litany of failures over and over again. The only thing that as fans we can do is we can make suggestions about some tidy housekeeping that would make the confines of where they play and what players they have a little bit more decent for the fans to enjoy, because they're going to look at losses no matter what. I am 100% convinced that it doesn't matter who they hire. It doesn't matter whether Jim Schwartz takes the job or he's not offered the job. I would urge him to go someplace else because maybe he can get a job somewhere else. There is no reason to feel like you have to be
a martyr to this franchise,
right, and hang in there for Jimmy Haslam, because when Jimmy's done with you, he's done with you.
Yeah, he won't show loyalty to you.
Absolutely not.
Why should you show loyalty to them? And that's the fans too. I mean, this fucking dome. I mean, you know what I would do if I was going to build a dome in Cleveland? I'd have the dome built and then have it closed when it's August and September, when they're playing these 100-degree heat preseason games, in the first games of the season, when Myles Garrett's gasping for air and the offensive line is all fucking dying of oxygen. I'd have the dome closed then, and then as the weather got worse, I'd leave the dome open so that in December, when it's like 5 degrees Fahrenheit and snowing, I'd have the fucking dome open and let them come to Cleveland and play the cold weather thing. None of these dome teams have won jack shit unless you count the Rams as a dome team.
Well, if you look what Tom Telesco did when he was in San Diego, or I should say Los Angeles now. That's, to me, the Chargers are the Chargers.
Oh, it's all the same, man. It's fucking Southern
So
California.
before he got there, Marty Schottenheimer was the coach and had a 47-35 record for the Chargers, right? North Turner was there from 07 to 2012. He had a 59-43 record. So what does Telesco do? He says, well, we're not going to get any of these older guys anymore. We're going to go with the young guy. And he got Mike McCoy, who was 28-38.
Yeah.
And then he got Anthony Lynn, who got them to the playoffs in one season. And he was a minority hire. 34-32 was his record. Right. Then he hired the late, not so great Brandon Staley, which you remember at the tail end. If anybody could turn Herbert into an absolute failure, it was Brandon Staley and his bizarre play calling and offensive calling. that brought fans to their knees there. And then they fired Telesco and they bring in Harbaugh, and now they're winning. All right.
Wow.
So basically, he arrives like a vulture does when something's dying, but he has no answers himself.
So basically, because I'm waking up. Couldn't the Browns have like offered an interview to Robert Saleh or anybody? Like
If they could have gotten them in to talk, the fact of
could-
the matter is, people think so of such
That-
low regard for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, we're scheduling you. Yeah. I'll be there. And they don't show up. Oh, no, something else came up. I'm sorry.
Well, now everybody will have to wait out this like once in a century storm that happens every year now before anybody flies into anywhere.
There ain't going to be nothing. It doesn't matter. It's over. Next year is over already because you don't even have a plan. I mean, how could you not? How could you not have the fucking list in your hand of who you wanted to talk to when you knew goddamn well that Kevin Stefanski was gone? You knew you were going to fire him.
You're firing somebody. You have a damn good idea of who you want to replace him,
or at least a list.
Yeah.
And you can't really be surprised that people aren't really interested in coaching the Browns. You can't be. So you had to have a lengthy list, don't you think?
I don't know. And we both said this, that the team is only like, there's some major roster holes, but they're not that far away from other teams in the league, and particularly the AFC North. We could win the division if we had a decent coach in 2 years. I will fucking bang on about that to anybody who will listen. We're not that roster isn't that bad. It's just that they just get killed with injuries.
Now, here's based on cosmetic appearance things that don't really change the winning ability of the franchise, but might actually put it in a place where people might think they want to play in Cleveland at some point in time in their careers. We have as a third string, we are when healthy, Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson, right?
Yeah.
And then Raheem Sanders, who actually looked pretty decent.
Yeah, he looked like the great Armand Smith. Those guys in training camp that have a couple good games, and then
I mean,
he did. He was all right.
He had a pretty decent college career, and I looked at Quinshon Judkins, and he averaged 3.6 yards per carry because he had no offensive line.
Yeah, not his fault.
Not his fault. He certainly showed flashes, and Dylan Sampson showed flashes of speed.
They were getting contacted 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
That's right.
So they were like 5 yards average after contact. I mean, God damn it. How can you do better than that?
So, I mean, if you wanted to get a backup running back who averaged 4.1 yards per carry, but on a team that didn't have a real good offensive line, but it has a veteran's mentality, okay, to maybe help the younger running backs that you have become better than they are. Don't you think that you should bring Nick Chubb back to this organization, give something back to the fans, and give something to the younger players? They say, well, he's washed up, and he's not. And the Texans have said, we're not re-signing you. He is out on the market. He doesn't have a job. And the belief is that he's washed up.
Oh, no.
All right. That's the reality of his situation right now. Game by game, the opening game of the season, 4.6 yard average, then 3.6 in week 2, then 4.2, then 3.6. Against the Ravens, 5.5, but then it started dipping down to 3.2, 3.3, 3.1. In their win against Jacksonville, he averaged 9.4 yards per carry and then 5.7 yards per carry against Tennessee. But after that, his carries disappeared. The Texans just said, no, we're not doing this anymore. And he never had more than 9 carries in a game for the rest of the season, with many of them being 1 carry games.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, let's make Chubb head coach.
I mean, from my perspective, I'm going to tell you something that bothers me. I watched Chubb play.
Yeah.
And I obviously, the reason that the Texans didn't go anywhere and the reason that CJ Stroud couldn't take them anywhere is there was no offensive line on the field.
Correct.
And he was under incredible pressure, which resulted in him in the most important game of the year, throwing 4 interceptions in a game. But Nick Chubb averaged over 4 yards a carry behind that lousy line. And I started thinking to myself, well, what did the other guys on that team do? And
much better.
So I started looking up the running backs. What did they do as far as, yards per carry? Woody Marks averaged 3.6 yards per carry. Yeah. Right? Chubb 4.1. Jawar Jordan, who only played in 4 games, 4.5 yards. But he had very few carries. Dare Ogunbowale, Ole, 2.3 yards. British Brooks.
Great name.
Yeah, 4.6 yards per
Sounds
carry.
like a tailor's shop. You go in and buy, I'm going to buy a British Brooks jacket,
Damian Pierce, who was supposed to be a factor for the team, he only played in 4 games and averaged 2.6 yards. They don't have a running game. That's what it amounts to. So only one guy in their roster averaged more yards per carry than Nick Chubb did. So you're going to say that he's washed up because no one else on the team could get yardage either from the line of scrimmage?
Correct. He's probably their best running back.
Yeah.
Want to pay him.
I watched him play, and I'm going to say something that's crazy.
Okay.
He can still play.
He can still play. He can still contribute to an NFL team.
No, I'm telling you that he can still play.
Yeah.
Here's my reasoning, and again, it's a thing that you can't possibly go wrong in doing because the fans will applaud as far as goodwill is concerned. When you have, and the reason I know, having gone through a complete knee replacement in my right knee back, when I was about 7 years ago, actually, the surgery was. And I had no ACL in my knee left. I was like the walking wounded, and I was still, trying to play tennis, and I ended up getting into a bicycle accident, and that just wiped out what was left of my knee. And getting out of bed with a knee replacement was like, wow, this thing is clicking all the time. It feels like plastic. It's like, this isn't a regular part of me. And I spoke to my surgeon and I said to him, what's the story as far as, do people ever really think they have a knee? He goes, well, you're never going to have a knee in the sense that it won't go diagonally.
Yeah.
It only goes north, south, east, west. Okay.
That's it's not all that radial element of it, of being able to go at different angles.
He said, is gone. He goes, but you can play doubles. And, I won a lot of doubles matches after I had knee replacement. But I said to him, will it ever feel like it's mine? And he goes, in a good percentage of cases, it is. But in a lot of people, it still just clicks along, Mine became what they called the invisible knee replacement because I couldn't tell.
Wow.
And it's like 7 years later. And what I said to him was, now, as far as the the knee itself, how long does it take to heal? And he says, well, you'll be up and walking in 6 months. And he was right. 5.5 months, I was hitting tennis balls. But only like a third, the middle third of the tennis court, just rallying with a pro. He was right about that. My knee was still hot to the touch. I said to him, why is my knee like that? He goes, we were having cell regeneration in your knee. He goes, the cells regenerate. I said, and how long before they regenerate? He goes, fully 2 years.
Yeah.
So the massive surgery that Nick Chubb has had, he isn't completely
Fully
healed.
recovered. Yeah, he's not
Nope.
recovered, fully recovered. It's it's only just been 2 years. You know?
Yep. And so it got
I
to the
remember
point.
where I was when I heard about him being injured because I didn't see the game. I was on a cruise ship in the middle of the Bay of Biscay, and I looked up on my phone and got internet access for £5 that hour to see what happened to the Browns against the Bengals and the Steelers, and found out. And that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So 4 months.
My feeling is you bring him back to Cleveland, all right, and you let him go through camp, and you see if the second year after is a charm. Because for me, it really was. I had the replacement in December of 2018, and at the end of 2019, it stopped feeling hot to the touch.
Right.
And as I went along and played tennis, both in South Carolina, where at the time my second home was, and down here in Florida, I started playing good tennis. And I actually was performing in a doubles capacity well enough to be one of the better club players in this area, representing my club and playing. I never played. Well, I did. I actually played on the first court on a couple of occasions, and one court 1, 2, and 3. I mean,
there you go.
Yeah. But if you would have said, is it normal? It's like, no, because I have to strategize. I have to strategize which direction, I can't go diagonal.
Mind. You always have to. It's no longer a natural thing. You're always compensating for it mentally, which takes up mental space in your head about the game.
But pretty soon you get to a point where you do it, and it's instinctive that you can't go diagonally anymore. Now, for a running back, that's hell. I mean, but he doesn't have a knee replacement. Let's be clear that Nick Chubb had his injuries repaired, and he has had reparations in his
you
knee.
Still got like the semblance of a normal human knee. I mean, the other way you can look at it is like, coral reefs that start dying, and these oceanographers and all that, they stick artificial stuff where the reef was, and then suddenly the reef starts regenerating because other coral and that know that there's something to latch onto, and then suddenly you get the reef reborn again. And that's sort of how these body parts work, that they regenerate once there is something to latch onto.
So what I do is I take a look at Nick Chubb just first of all, out of a sense
of duty, really, almost.
Yeah, of somebody who, like, for all the Joe Thomases and Joel Batonios and people who have wasted their careers playing for this moron of an owner, give him an opportunity to at least see if there has been further healing and what he can get done. Because believe me, he would have had a 1 yard average with that offensive line if he was completely washed up.
Correct.
So that'd be the first thing I do. The next thing is The Browns finalist, Jesse Minter, the guy who was going to interview with the
he's gone
Browns.
somewhere, hasn't he?
No, he's been hired as the Ravens head coach.
Oh, right. Okay.
On the very same day that he canceled his second interview with the Browns.
That's like, if that's not a fuck you, Jimmy Ansel, I don't know what is.
I mean, it's like somebody just unzipping their fly and urinating on you. I mean, it's just so fucked up. Now, is Jesse Minter going to be a great head coach? I don't even care.
No. I don't know. Probably not. I would say.
I mean, he's the former Chargers defensive coordinator, so it's always going to be defense. It's always going to be defense first for the Ravens. And Lamar Jackson, overrated, is not going to get an opportunity to do maybe what he can't do anymore. I have questions about him losing a step as well. So, again, putting a defensive coordinator in as the head coach is not going to go, far away from what was being done prior in replacing John Harbaugh. God almighty. I
wonder if these coaches are taking less money to go elsewhere other than what Jimmy would have offered.
Yeah. And in fact, some of them have, like Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel was going to get a head coaching interview because he was going to be the minority candidate, and he took an offensive coordinator position.
Oh, so he took a demotion.
Yes,
the Cleveland.
That's right. They weren't even going to give Jimmy Haslam the pleasure of doing the interview. That was the minority hire interview.
Yeah. Hi, how are you? Oh, how's your family? Oh, thanks for coming. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Or as Dwayne Stat. Could you imagine if Dwayne Stat? If Dwayne Stat were the announcer on The Price is Right, it would sound something like this. To Mike McDaniel, thanks for coming in and doing this minority hire interview. Here it is, the home version of our game. Thanks a lot for coming in. Every time now, I'm thinking of Johnny Bryant. I'm thinking of Dwayne Stat. Come on down. A brand new car.
My favorite is Dwayne Stat saying, "Go fuck yourself."
And that would be, that would be in the ultimate example of an umpire who was squeezing the strike zone against his pitcher, because we know that the Rays never can hit, just like the Guardians, and they have to rely on their pitching, right?
Yeah.
And after about 5 bad calls, Dwayne Stat would say, this guy has just got a different strike zone for the Rays than he does with the other team. He can just go fuck himself.
I wonder if Dwayne watches the program. It'd be great to actually, if he was a good sport, if he actually popped up and showed up, he could come to your house. Really,
I would be the only podcast in the world talking about Dwayne Stat. Okay, that's right. I'm trying to get the word out.
I think you guys should be buddies. Like go out to dinner and stuff like that. I think that'd be fantastic.
No, I'll pick up the check. So keep it down. This is a classy place. Go fuck yourself. So the Bills are going to interview Phillip Rivers for their coaching job.
Phillip Rivers, doesn't he have a family to look after? What does he do with his 15 kids? Does he have 15 nannies that come in to look after them all?
You gotta give the guy credit. He goes out and defies all logic at his age, going out and playing quarterback in the NFL, risking death and damage, making his wife a widow and his children fatherless for an opportunity to interview for a head coaching job. That's what you call foresight.
Wow.
What a strategy. You know? Yeah. So I don't know anything about that except that they're going to interview Philip Rivers and he's going to go, oh, which way do I go? Which God almighty.
Oh, here's a little tip for you online keyboard warriors. You could use the initials GFY because they actually can mean two things. They can mean go fuck yourself, or they can mean good for you. So it could be ambiguous, but it could be ambiguous enough so that you can get away with using it to
GFI to the Empire.
Good for you, umpire.
Great fucking calls.
Yeah, Rick May with his GFYP, Go Fuck Yourself podcast. That's what we are. That's what we are.
Do you want to know the Rays? Poor Dwayne.
Dwayne, I don't.
You know that it's like they were almost starving as much as the Guardians for power hitting, you know, and we gave them Yandy Diaz for nothing, right?
We did. Yandy Diaz was our gift to them.
And he hit like 18 to 20 home runs a year, you know?
Yep.
And in Tampa, he was Babe fucking Ruth, you know?
Exactly.
And the Guardians were trying to change his swing, and it's like, and I heard Dwayne Stat tell the story about, you know, those cocksuckers in Cleveland were trying to change his swing. Can you believe that? Boy, what a bunch of assholes. This guy's a 300 hitter. They can go fuck themselves. Unbelievable. Oh, and here's something that comes up now. This is the way the NFL runs. And I'm telling you, if the NFL really wanted to, they could get rid of Jimmy Haslam. But Jimmy
Haslam, get rid of any owner. They could get rid of Bob Kraft. God damn it! I was incensed with him the other day.
Oh well, I mean, what's to like there? But I mean,
he came out. And it got picked up in England because he came out saying that all teams should be playing 18 games and every team should have an international game.
Yep. Yeah.
Just export NFL misery to all corners of the globe. Yeah, let's play a game in Mumbai, India. Yeah.
So now the ownership of the Indianapolis Colts have confirmed that the FBI is investigating the death of Jim Irsay, which I talked about so long back.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
yeah.
I mean, all this bullshit about how he died. You know how he died? He was a drug fucking addict. That's how he died.
Down the chair, pushed down the stairs by his daughter or something, you know, while he's drug-addled.
And now, according to a story in the Washington Post, and they were the ones who first reported the news of an FBI probe in this thing. The FBI is seeking records and information about Irsay's death, his substance abuse, and his relationship with Dr. Harry Harutunian, a California addiction specialist.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he
sounds
just
like Michael Jackson sort of character.
Right, or like Elvis, you know,
or Prince even.
Yeah.
Minnesota's finest.
Yeah. So now that suddenly gets done. Here's the last thing I want to talk about, which is really, to me, a sign of the times.
Ooh, that's a Prince song.
Yep. It was a segue.
He tried. What did somebody try cannabis, and then 4 months later they were on horse? You know,
right?
What happened?
No. Actually, this is
or moose.
The NCAA.
Oh, they're a great bunch of people. The NCAA.
No, they're just they might as well be the NFL. You know what they've approved?
Oh God,
they're going to keep the CFP 12 teams. Okay, they didn't increase it like a lot of people thought they were going to do, and everyone said, "God, that's kind of strange because God, they could make more money." And it's like, oh no, they had a better plan. You know what they did?
What did they do?
They've approved uniform patches on players, opening up new revenue streams.
Oh, so they can advertise. They're fucking university students supposedly, but now they're going to advertise for Panatar Corporation or X or whatever it is they
Yep.
want to. Oh my god!
Beginning August 1st, Division 1 teams can place up to 2 patches of no more than 4 square inches on uniforms for regular season games.
They'll look like NASCAR drivers, but
Yeah,
in 3 years'
exactly.
time.
Those are in addition to the logos already allowed for the uniform manufacturers. These
Like
guys are going to be like
Nike.
running billboards.
What's your favorite NASCAR team?
And now they're looking into how to allow patches for the postseason too. They're going to sell postseason patches at a higher price. Can you believe this shit? I mean, when does this stop?
I mean, I was going to bring this up when it happened a couple weeks ago, but it was the beginning of semester at Ohio State, and they've got a bunch of like 14, 15 story tall dormitories that hold about 200 students. Let's say it's actually a little bit more than that, but they were built in the 1960s. So if you've ever driven by the projects, that's what these dormitories look like. They look like 1960s, like
urban renewal.
renewal buildings. They absolutely look horrible. They're brick and they're oblong, and they've got they jut in. And they've got those old style windows and that. On the weekend before the students were meant to move back into the semester, they had a major flood of old piping that just let go all the way through the whole dorm virtually and ruined belongings and everything. And the university decided, oh, we'll let you have a voucher and we'll let you have this and that. And then these poor students weren't allowed back in even to get their shit. So I posted a follow up about this, and it was still going on the week later. And these are students trying to earn degrees. They're spending student loan money to try to be microbiologists or engineers or accountants and that. And they have no fucking place to stay. So some of them are being put up in hotels that they have to pay for, and it's just a mess. But they got money to give the quarterbacks. They got money to give to fucking Justin Sand.
Yeah, I mean,
the point of the university is fucking academics. It's not fucking American football.
The Sports Business Journal estimated that it could mean, depending on how small or how large the school is, up to $12 million of revenue for their patches for each team.
And that would pay to fix that fucking dorm.
No, it wouldn't. Well, here's the most telling statement of all.
Really.
The most telling statement. It's the latest move for schools to help bankroll the $20.5 million in revenue they're allowed to share with players under new rules that went into play this school year. You see, they don't want to lose any money. They don't want to have to fork anything over. They're going to find a new revenue stream to pay the few players who get the big help, the Mendozas who get million plus dollars.
The 1%ers of the university football players.
Everything is the same mentality in this country. And it's not this way in other countries. It's in this country that how much you make is whether you're winning or losing, and it doesn't matter how you make it. Yes. And so this notion that, well, we're sharing revenue with the players. No, they're not. They're just finding new revenue streams, and they've locked in that $20.5 million revenue thing they're allowed to share with players and everything. And then they're going to say, oh, but now we're going to do patches in the postseason as well. That's all ours.
We're going to keep that.
I mean, this last year we had to pay the $20.5 million, but we're not going to do that again. That's for damn sure. What we're going to do is we're going to get $12 million off that. So we'll only have to pay 8. And by next year, we'll have something else. So everything will be paid for us.
Yep. By corporations that ended up charging more to the people that use their services. So the amazing thing is Indiana won the national championship, and they were clearly the best team in college football. And that was well known by the fact that they beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, soundly. It may have looked close on the scoreboard. It wasn't close.
Right.
And the season could have been over at the beginning of fucking December, and you would have known who the national champion was. But then they have to go through these 11 more games to decide that Indiana is indeed the national champion.
Right.
And have all these like ridiculous teams like James Madison and Texas Technological A&M Bullocks, tits ass wank, in the playoff games that have no business being there. And it's just ridiculous. And the children in those games that got injured, didn't have to be injured because we didn't need to have those games to know who the best team in the country was. We already knew that. It was Indiana. They went undefeated. Nobody fucking come close to fucking beating them. So it's just ridiculous. What I would do with the end, I would do a lot of things, but straight away I would reduce the college football season down to like 8-9 games. And then I would have a 128 team tournament where the number one team plays like Slippery Rock in the first round, and let it work down so that there's like 7 games, and then you'd end up winning. You'd play 13 games if you were the last surviving team, the last surviving 2 teams, and that way everybody's in the playoffs. Everybody has a chance for glory. Everybody can be on TV at some point, and fucking get rid of these stupid bowl games. They're just there for the people that sponsor for Allstate. They're just there for Dr. Pepper.
Absolutely.
They're just there for Tostitos. They're just there for whatever shitty software company that wants to do digital IDs. They're all a bunch of fuckers.
Well, and get this. And this quote, and I'm going to follow it up with one more story, then I got to get out of here because the 2 stories will be an interesting little pale reflection. The cabinet's vote today. This is from Illinois Athletic Director Josh Whitman, who's the chair of the Division I rulemaking body. He said,
God.
The cabinet's vote today reflects the ongoing commitment of Division I members to drive additional revenues and fully fund the new player benefits. You're not fully funding a goddamn thing.
That's such a doublespeak Orwellian bullshit comment to make.
I mean, it's like you're just doing things now to make money so that you don't have to pay out of your till. You're going to add additional ways, and whatever the patches gain, it'll make up a certain percentage of the difference, and pretty soon you'll have 3 other things that you introduce, and nothing's going to come out of their hide.
They'll allow patches on the actual field itself, where you see All-State Sugar Bowl or whatever. They'll have like All-State at the 40-yard line, then they'll have Tostitos at the 30-yard line, they'll have this and that, and it'll look like one giant billboard that they're playing on,
And the final story. A lot of it is it's License to Kill was a song by Bob Dylan off of his Infidels album in the early 1980s, maybe the mid 80s.
Another Minnesota legend from Hibbing.
Yeah. And the song was basically You steal a little and they throw you in jail. Steal a lot and they make you a king. That's the line
Correct.
in the
And
song.
that's
And
always been the case.
so, how you make money, if you do it through insider trading, it's okay. If you're in the Congress, it's
Yep.
okay. All right. A former Miami Heat security officer has been sentenced to 3 years in prison and ordered to pay nearly $1.9 million in restitution for stealing hundreds of game worn jerseys and other valuable sports memorabilia while working for the team. Marcos Thomas Perez, 62 years of age, was sentenced earlier this month after pleading
Wow.
guilty. He was a 25-year retired veteran of the Miami Police Department and worked from 2016 to 2021 for the Miami Heat.
Oh, so he
I-
was like Crockett and Tubbs.
You're right. And, I'm thinking to myself, he's got to pay $1.9 million in restitution because he kifed a number of worn uniforms.
Well,
So,
he stole Dwayne Wade's jersey when he wasn't looking or something.
yeah, whatever. And this guy's going to be in jail and get ass raped because he's going to a federal prison. I mean, there ain't going to be no swanky accommodation.
He'll probably be going to Alligator Alcatraz or something. Yeah.
He's going to be going to Shawshank. That's where he's going to be going. And
meet the sisters.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think to myself,
that doesn't sound fair, does it?
You got the owner of the New York Mets who's been busted twice for insider trading. He can't field a winning team in New York with the highest payroll in the game. And
he's a billionaire hedge funder.
Never spent a minute in jail. All right.
Being investigated properly.
This guy grabs X number of uniforms and they're going to bring the law down on him like ICE agents converging on a guy who is named Rodriguez.
Well, that's the story throughout time. I mean, European history is riddled with, if you've ever seen the play Les Miserables by Victor Hugo and the musical, that's all about some guy being arrested for stealing bread at the time prior to the French Revolution. I mean, we've not gotten any better. I mean, the world has not. It beats the poor, it beats the people, and then it rises up the big villains.
Yeah, and we're talking about 400 uniforms. All right, 400
somebody
jerseys.
should have stopped it before it got to that point.
Yeah, 400.
Nobody not know that was going on.
One of them was a LeBron jersey worn during the NBA Finals that sold for $100,000. All right. Yeah. Now, you want to hear the amazing thing about it?
So, how are those things sold when they know that they were nicked? I don't
listen to what I'm going to say next, and it's the end. It's the end of the show. It says everything you need to know.
Everything. All right.
So they say he sold a Heat jersey LeBron James wore during the NBA Finals for approximately $100,000. That same jersey later sold at a Sotheby's auction for $3.7 million.
Yeah.
Well, let's put the $100,000 guy in jail and the guy who paid $3.7 million for it. Hey, just let him keep it. I mean,
thank you for that. I needed that. Yeah. Thank you.
What in the hell has become of everything?
It's a piece of fucking cloth. At the end of the day, LeBron has to wear clothing every day of his life. He's going to go outside the house. I mean, why is that suddenly so magical that it's worth $3.2 million? I don't know.
Well, it went to Sotheby's and it got, bid it up, man. You know how it works.
Yeah,
and the people who have to have that shit are all the same people who are like the 1-2%ers.
Yeah.
Who's got $3.7 million to just fork over for a sweaty uniform?
I know.
Come on. It's like beyond my scope. These people don't produce anything. They don't do anything to help anybody. All they do is money makes money makes money. So we start with Jimmy Haslam and we end up this way. And, there's nothing wrong with being wealthy. There's nothing wrong with having worked for your
Yeah,
living.
being rewarded for hard work. That's how it should work.
That's how it should work. But, people just deciding, I'm going to be a senator for 4 years. I'm going to get in on that game and get myself about $100 million of bribe money. And I'm not going to run a second time.
Because I don't have to.
No, and they promised they weren't going to tell on me. I voted the way they told me to vote.
I did everything they told me.
Absolutely. And I walk away with $100 million. I'm Marjorie Taylor Greene. And, and I sometimes pretend like I'm a Republican. Sometimes I pretend like I'm a Democrat, whatever the case may be. And
I'm all
just go fuck yourself. I mean, it's just hard for me to understand how it got this way. And
I'm saying to an extent it's always been like that, but now all bets are off. It's like the Wild West out there for corruption, and it's not just America, but yeah, it's like the Wild West now. You can get away with anything now.
So
if you got the right influence, if you're Bob Kraft or if you're Jimmy Haslam or if you're like a congressman or a senator or whatever.
So it would seem. All right, Bronk. I appreciate you hanging out with me, man.
Hey, I woke up, man. Do I need to go back? Did I miss any news in the opening part of the program?
I'm not sure that any part of the program is ever that important, but it's
anyway. I'll go back. Any Cavs news at all? Are they still dead?
They're playing tonight, and they won their last game. I mean,
against Charlotte when they were up by like about 20 points in the first 5 minutes because Melo Ball switched into Lonzo Ball's body. Remember that movie?
No, they were raised by the same father, and that guy is the biggest fucking loser in the world.
He was like 1 for 15, I think, on the night. And 0 for 10 from 3. It was unbelievable.
Well, I mean, I'm still a fan for the Cavaliers because I can't point at Dan Gilbert and say he hasn't put anything into this team. He's put more money into this team than any other owner in the league. He's
literally put his health on the line for this team.
They've drafted good players. I mean, in what drafting they've had during winning seasons.
Tyson,
that's right.
Time to develop, and
they found Naquan Tomlin from rubbish, and there's he's done what he can. It doesn't always work out because players don't always meld together perfectly, but I have no axe to grind. It's just that this group of players, they may show up one night, they may not show up the next night.
And it's totally unpredictable. If it was predictable, I'd be a lot happier. It's not predictable.
The only thing that's been predictable is that DeAndre Hunter looks like he has sold the team out. I don't know what the story is.
He looks like a ghost out there.
You can't put the ball in his hands. He'll throw it to the opposition intentionally. I swear to God. I don't understand what he's doing. I've seen him throw in the last couple of games 5 different balls. If the guy stays in the corner, he throws it like he was going to break to the basket. If the guy breaks to the basket, he throws it behind him out of bounds. He throws the ball behind people, a foot behind people, or ahead of people out of bounds. And they're all immediate turnovers that the other team will, and some of them are open court bonehead plays where it just results in layups on the other end.
The worst thing they can't seem to do this year is the lead pass where, Kevin Love used to throw these full court passes and they find somebody for an easy layup. When they try to do anything remotely, not even that difficult, if a fucking ball sails out of bounds or the guy fucking drops it or the guy flies to the stanchion or it just looks absolutely diabolical. Kevin Love made that look so easy. Now it looks so incredibly difficult for the Cavs to do.
I mean, people are saying, is Kenny Atkinson the right guy?
Great quarterback.
Great quarterback, yeah. Is he the right guy to be the head coach of the Cavaliers? And, I'm looking at least he's sitting Lonzo. He's not playing Lonzo. But, I mean, the idiot coach that we just got done playing, Charlotte, he starts LaMelo, and LaMelo was like 1 for 10 and
absolutely diabolical.
Didn't get any better. And so he benched him.
He got worse. Yeah.
And they brought him back in and he missed a bunch more shots. I mean, it was
Dwayne Stack. What would he say?
Go fuck yourself. I mean, just an unbelievable thing to watch. I mean, and the fact is, they made a run at the Cavs at the end.
They came back.
We should have won that game by 27 points.
Yeah, it ended up being both teams were under 100 points, which, if anybody predicted that out there, you did really well.
I mean, Brandon Miller beat us the last time we played them when Darius Garland fell down for no reason, trying to fake taking a charge instead of if you remember, we were up 3, and instead of just fouling the guy and giving him 2 free throws with only a few seconds left, he falls down trying to get a charge. He lets a wide open 3 go, and it goes in. It goes to overtime, and they beat us, right?
Yeah.
So this time, Brandon Miller had a wide open 3 that would have made it a 2-point game with only about 12 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
And all they would have done was like fouled Evan Mobley, and Evan Mobley would have thrown 2 line drives up at the rim. And they were that one shot away from pulling within 2 points of the game. I mean, oh my God. Ay, ay, ay.
Who do they play tonight even?
Don't get me started. So thanks everybody for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. We will be back again like we always are on Monday.
Yeah, if I'm awake, man, we're gonna watch these football games, and
we'll see.
Good. We get to see Denver's backup quarterback, and a bunch of practice squad linemen and all that for the biggest game of the year. You get a trophy if you win this game, and we're gonna see a bunch of fucking practice league players on these games. It's just incensed me.
All right. So everybody, have yourselves a good evening. Take care of yourselves.
Have yourself a merry
and in parting,
Christmas.
I'll say,
Jerry Haslam, go fuck yourself.
All right. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.